This is Adrienne with Optics Force, and today we're going to help you understand the differences between a red dot sight and a holographic sight. If you've done much looking for red dots or holographic sights, you know that there are a lot of options. They all pretty much have the same purpose, which is to get you a singular aiming point, making it easier to get on target, stay on target, and be more accurate. So that brings us to our question, what's the difference between a red dot and a holographic sight? A red dot sight, also known as a reflex sight, basically uses an LED to project a dot on the back of reflective glass. So whenever you look through the glass, you are actually seeing the reticle reflected on the back of that glass. More times than not, the reticle is a dot, and most of the time it's red, hence the more frequently used term red dot. There are different color options as well as reticle options, but just for simplicity's sake, throughout this video, we're just going to keep calling them all red dots. A holographic sight, like this one from EOTech, is quite a bit different than a red dot. To put it simply, the holographic sight uses a laser that is then projected within a series of mirrors and glass to where you end up with the holographic image basically seemingly floating between the glass. So you may be thinking, okay, cool, that's great. Why do I need that? What are the benefits? Well, there are a couple. First, because the holographic sight uses a laser, the reticle can be a lot smaller. Reticle size is measured in what's called MOA, or minute of angle, which basically just tells us how big the circle is. Most red dots that I have are between a 3 and 8 MOA. You can find some as low as 2, but that's about as small as they get. Those larger dots are good for pistol shooting, where your target's going to be closer. You can find it a lot more quickly and get on target more easily. The smaller dot, however, is more beneficial if your target is further away. That way, the dot doesn't cover what you're trying to aim at. Holographic sights, again, because of that laser, can have a 1 MOA dot, which is going to be of greater benefit if you're doing more precision shooting, especially at further distances. In addition to that, if you use a magnifier, it will magnify the size of the red dot that is above 1 MOA. So a 2 MOA with a 2x magnifier is going to be a 4 MOA dot. However, the dot size on a 1 MOA holographic sight is still going to maintain that 1 MOA size. Again, a huge advantage for precision distance shooting. The second big advantage the holographic sight has is what I'll just call usability. Because of that complex design with the laser and reflection, you can still use the reticle if, say, mud or dirt or other debris gets on your lens. As long as there is somewhere for the light to pass through, you can still see the reticle. And it actually is also true if you were to break the front glass. So if the glass is broken, again, as long as there's somewhere for light and you have the back lens, you can see that reticle. Whereas with a red dot, if you have your LED that's blocked with mud or the lens itself, you're not going to see it. Also, if it breaks, you may still see the dot, but it's definitely going to have flares and glares from reflecting off of broken glass. So if you want to make sure your dot's going to work no matter what, you may want to go with the holographic sight. Also, red dots have made some pretty big strides in these areas in the past few years, but theoretically there should be less parallax distortion noted with the holographic sights, and they are also built typically more rugged to withstand more torturous activities. However, again, red dot sights, depending on the manufacturer, are built to withstand a lot. So with all those benefits of the holographic sight, why would you choose a red dot? I think the first reason is pretty obvious. Red dots can vary in size, so they can be on a little bit larger size, and then you have your smaller ones. They even get smaller than this, the micro dots that you are going to put on a micro compact pistol for everyday carry. But as a general rule, your red dots are going to be smaller and more lightweight. And that is attributed to the fact that they are a lot more simply built. The other benefit to it being more simple is that you're going to get a lot more battery life out of the red dot. I've seen some that are up to like 50,000 hours of runtime that they advertise. The holographic sight, you're going to get on just runtime It depends on the different one and what kind of battery you're using, but maybe a couple months, 3 months of runtime. Now, do keep in mind that's running, so if you're turning it off when it's not in use, it's gonna last a little bit longer. But with a holographic sight, just remember, you're gonna have to change the battery more often. And finally, one huge benefit the red dots have is availability and cost. EOTech is the primary manufacturer of holographic sights. Vortex does have one as well, but that's pretty much it. Red dots, it's almost seemingly endless the number of manufacturers. And cost-wise, you can get a solid red dot that's gonna do well for you for $100, $150. There are some that are in that $300 to $400 range depending on features. But when you get in the holographic world, you're talking $500 at its cheapest up to $700, $800. So as usual, the decision is up to you. What kind of firearm are you gonna put it on? What are your main purposes for that firearm? And basically, how much money do you wanna spend? Hopefully this video has helped you. Happy shopping.